In this opportunity, we're going to start working with one linguist called Paul Grice, and he states his theory of implicature, in which we have different concepts that are very important. For example, concepts of implicature and also the concept of cooperative principle. But to begin with, when Paul Grice makes reference to implicatures and these maxims, we have to distinguish the concepts of meanings. When talking about meaning, we can make reference to natural meaning and to non-natural meaning. In the utterance, the sun is shining and it's very hot, the natural meaning is the actual meaning or the literal meaning of the word, that the sun is actually shining in a summer afternoon and it's very hot. In the utterance, the sun is shining for everyone who tries harder. This utterance carries a non-natural meaning, a metaphorical meaning. So in that sense, we can distinguish both concepts. Paul Grice states the concept of implicature. Implicature refers to what is suggested in an utterance, even though neither expressed nor strictly implied by the utterance, but what is suggested in that utterance. When talking about implicature, or this concept of implicature, we have to distinguish two kinds of implicatures: conversational implicature and conventional implicature. Conversational implicatures are implicatures that arise during conversation, and when carry-on conversation, speakers may voluntarily flout certain maxims, so conversations are able to carry on or to go on. Let's think about this example. In a conversation between two friends where they are thinking about going out to have dinner, one of them states, "McDonald's has a huge selection of burgers, fries, salads, and drinks. It's the best option." So there, one idea that is very important when talking about conversational implicature is that conversational implicature is context dependent. So we have to consider all the elements that are present in the context where the conversation occurs or carries on. Something that is very important to consider is that conversational implicature can be cancelled throughout the conversation, because it depends on the elements that are part of the context and the information that is presented in the conversation. In this case, one of the speakers is flouting or violating the maxim of quantity because the person is given a lot of information. On the contrary, we have to consider conventional implicature. Conventional implicature is dependent to the cooperative principle and its four maxims. A statement always carries its conventional implicature. For example, in the example, Paul is poor but happy, the conventional interpretation of the word but will always create the implicature of a sense of contrast. And that sense of contrast cannot be cancelled. The word means what it means, and it will carry its meaning throughout all the conversation. It's very important to consider that in conventional implicature, is dependent on the word's literal meaning, and that its meaning cannot be cancelled. Another important concept to consider when talking about this theory of implicature is the theory of the maxim of cooperative principle. To carry out a conversation, speakers are expected to be cooperative and follow certain maxims. But if all speakers follow these maxims all the time, conversations would not be spontaneous and would not sound natural. Yes? So, most of the time, speakers flout or violate these maxims. And these four maxims are maxim of quantity, maxim of quality, maxim of relation, and maxim of manner. Maxim of quantity states that contribution must be as informative as required and not giving extra information that is not required in a specific conversation. The maximum of quality, contribution must be true. So don't lie, don't give wrong information, and don't be speakers expected not to be subjective in their perspectives, okay? Remember that we always have to consider the context where these conversations take place. The maximum of relation, contribution must be relevant, so it must show important information. And the maximum of manner, contribution must be precise, not showing ambiguity, but being precise in the information that is being given. I hope this explanation is clear enough for you. Have a good week.